Raleigh, what's up, Wagwan? What you day? Big greetings from foreign. So you want me to talk about algae and how I deal with it? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Haven't really had too many algae issues myself, but I can tell you how I went from this to this. And it just took a little bit of time and a little bit of patience because nature usually finds the best ways. So let's get into it. Where do I begin with this 10-gallon tank, this Guppy Grove? Well, let's start where I first messed up. This was a donated tank, and when I plugged in the hood, the light on the hood was not working. So I went out and I bought one, and I just so happened to find one in the stores that was mislabeled as an open item for a very cheap, dirt cheap price. However, it turned out to be a plant light. Mistake one. That wasn't necessarily really a big mistake, but you'll see how that ties into the equation. Also, as you can see, I'm running pothos up out of here. That pothos was new to this tank. I wanted to give it some fertilizers just to dose it because I only had one fish in there, and that wasn't much of a bio load now, is it? No matter how much food I drop in there, I still got, what, 7 or 8 pothos plants that are going to require some form of nutrition. So I dosed it with fertilizers. However, this is a 10-gallon tank. I dosed it with the same amount of fertilizers as I did with the 30-gallon Beta Kingdom, and that was way too much. Mistake number 2. Mistake number 3. Let's just say I was called away on business, business of the street nature, and for 4 days this entire home was neglected. And when I came back, well, let me just show you the clip. Yeah, if you experienced fish keepers out there, know that smell. And did you see how thick that algae was? I mean, I went in on these micro Brazilian swords and I got out as much algae as I could with my trusty chopstick. I went to my Anubias and got as much algae as I could off before actually removing it completely from the tank so that I could actually rinse it under tap water, which was not dechlorinated. I purposely rinsed it under tap water. I wanted to kill the algae. I knew that the Anubias would be going back in here, so I wasn't worried about the tap water killing the Anubias. Also, that back wall back there, whew, I tried and I tried and I tried with these little wooden chopsticks, and as much algae as I got up, it seemed like there was just still algae back there. So I realized that I had my own little cleanup crew in here. All these snails. All of these snails. Now, don't get me wrong, I got a nearite right here, and I got a nearite up there. But you see all these snails right here? Right now, they're being rewarded for all their hard work. And I know a lot of you look at them as being pest snails, but they are some of your best defenses against algae. Now, don't get me wrong, on a normal everyday basis, I do have one of these magnetic cleaners. And I did use the magnetic cleaner to clean off the front of the glass. But the amount of algae infestation that I had, that just wasn't enough. Like, I needed to get into the sands. I needed to get onto the plants. I needed to get on that back wall, which really was inaccessible with that magnetic algae cleaner. Now, that magnetic algae cleaner does work. Let's not get that twisted. But for the amount of algae that I had in here, I just had to give my cleanup crew enough time to be able to do that, to actually clean it up. Now, take in mind, this is how I handled my situation. There are other ways. I do have a red cherry shrimp in here and an amano shrimp in here. They were free. Don't ask. I don't have a breeding colony of either one of those shrimps in here. But they also helped with those pest snails, as some of you may call them, cleaning up some of the algae. The amano shrimp love algae. Red cherry shrimp, they're scavengers, but they will go after algae. So between my two shrimp buddies and this crew of pest snails, my algae problems are no more. And there are plenty other ways that you can do that, but I didn't want to use chemicals. In my opinion, nature does know best. And that doesn't mean that I'm above using chemicals, because if I needed to, I honestly would. But if you notice, there's no filtration in this tank other than the plants themselves. There's no hang-on back filter. There's no box filter. There's no sponge filter. I'm allowing nature to naturally create a biotope. So that was my most natural way. And as far as foreign tools were concerned, I had my trusty chopsticks, which you can see there's still a little bit of algae on, and I had my magnetic scraper. That's how I handled my algae issue in my guppy grove. Now, I do have another tank around the corner over here called the Better Kingdom. Every now and then I'll get a little bit of algae, and I'll take that magnetic scraper and I'll, clean one of these front 3 panes, because this is a hexagon tank. But other than that, this tank really doesn't suffer from a lot of algae issues because of the fact that that pothos plant is insanely greedy with nutrients. Any excess nutrients and waste that's in that water, all those roots back there at the back of the tank, they are ready, willing, and able to suck it all up before any algae can actually take advantage of it. So that's how I handle algae in my situation. Raleigh, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to your channel. It is an honor and a privilege, sir. You are one of the first YouTubers that introduced me into the fish family. Because of you, I am connected to so many people, not just here in the United States, but around the world. So from far in the yard, bless up yourself, big up yourself, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And one last thing, I always ask people, if you know anybody out there suffering from any form of mental illness, that you reach out to them. You never know what difference your reaching out can make. You can save your life, you can save their life, you can save the lives of countless others. And always remember, folks, winners aren't people that never fail, they're people that never quit. So don't ever quit, and don't ever give up, especially not on yourselves, folks. This is Dead Fred 821 on behalf of Fish Keeping Jamaica. My man Raleigh, I'm out of here.